Good morning, everyone. Let us discuss about inheritance. So, inheritance is a core feature of object-oriented programming. You can say that it is one of the cornerstones in building object-oriented programming. And inheritance allows one class to inherit data and behavior from another class. Assume you define one class which is working exactly very fine, and suddenly you need to define another class which has similar functionality. Then it is better to use the existing class instead of creating the new class. So we will look at an example, then it will be very clear for you. Okay. And inheritance allows you to reuse the code in the classes. This is one thing we should observe. And when we look at how to achieve inheritance in Python, that was the syntax. So when we define a new class, okay, then we will pass the class which we are inheriting in parentheses in the given format. So class, subclass name, followed by base class in parentheses, colon, the class body. You can define your class there. So you should clearly note that the parent class is specified by providing the name of that class in round brackets after the name of the new child class. The subclass is the new class which I am defining, and the base class is something which is already existing. Okay, we can see an example here. In the example, you can see that I had a class person, and there were two attributes, name and age. These are the two variables there, and we defined a particular method called birthday. Okay, so that was the existing class. Suddenly, I want to define an employee class, and we know that for employee also I need to have the name is, and I want to have the same method, that is birthday, also there. So it is better to inherit those attributes and behavior for the employee class. So I simply inherited the behavior from the person, and then I can define new attributes and also new methods in the employee class. I have put an ID, that is employee may have an ID, and also a calculate pay method in the employee class. So we should understand this terminology in whenever we are talking about inheritance. The class person is the base class here, or we also call it as superclass or parent class. So the class from which other class inherits attributes and behavior is called superclass. That was the definition we should understand. Example, in this example, person is the base class or superclass or parent class. Okay. So under class employee, we can see that that is called as subclass or child class or derived class. Inherits attributes and behavior of the parent class. The subclass will inherit the attributes and behavior of the parent class. Example, employee. Okay. The relationship between the superclass and child class is known as easier relationship. So if you are able to say that a particular class or object is a another class, I will tell it as a statement, you can understand it. An employee is a person. This is a statement, and it is a true statement. Every employee is a person. So if I say that employee is a person, here I am using the term is a. So wherever this is a fits in the statement, then we can go for inheritance there. That is what we are telling here. So the relationship between the superclass and subclass is easier relationship. Okay, I can tell you another example. For example, if I am thinking of a person and student, okay, a student and a BTech student. A BTech student is a student. So you can say that student can be a parent class and BTech student can be a child class. That is how the relationship will be there. So there is also another kind of relationship which is known as has a relationship. Okay, we will also look at it when we go through that particular topic. For example, if I say that a car has a tire, so that is a component. A tire is a component of a car. That is called has a relationship. But inheritance is a relationship. Okay, you can see that an employee is a person. It's a true statement. In Python, object is a superclass for all objects. What do I mean by for all objects? For example, when I think about this example, we know that for employee, the superclass is person. And for person, what is the superclass? Does it have any superclass? Whenever we simply define a class without giving any parent class to it, automatically Python inherits object class. Okay, for all classes in the Python, there is one superclass that is called object. Okay, by default, for all classes which doesn't have any parent class directly, the parent class is the object class. We will also look at it in the example. Let me open idle. So we can write an example of the parent and employee class. I'm creating a new file. So we know how to define a class name. I'm writing person. Okay. So we said that for every class, there is a particular parent class. For example, person, I can say that object. This is optional. By default, for every class, object is the parent class. Okay. So if I don't have any parent class, if I am not passing anything, then the system or the Python will by default put object here. Then I can define other things. What are the attributes I have? In the diagram, I showed that it have two attributes, name and age. So what I'm doing is I'm defining the init constructor, which is a default constructor, passing the argument self, name, and what's the other attribute we had? Is. Okay. Is colon self dot name. This is how we will initialize the instance variables. Self dot age is equal to age. Okay, then I'm coming out, define, I'm writing another function str self. We know that str is a both init and str are special functions, and these functions those functions which will start with dunder, that is double underscore, and ends with dunder, that is double underscore, we call them as special functions in Python. So for str, we need to return a string. So return, I want to just print the name, that is self dot name. Then I want to add a string and print his age. So this is a simple statement. Okay. So we have a particular method called birthday in the diagram. We have seen. I'm taking birthday. Print issue any happy because of the day name. Okay, I'm just wishing him birthday on this particular day. That is my person class. Now I want to inherit this class with the employee class. So I'm writing class employee. So to inherit, I need to pass the name of the class which I'm inheriting, that is a super class, in the parenthesis after the name of the new class, that is employee. So I want to define this init method, init self name as id. So additionally, we have an id here. This id is nothing but employee id. Let us assume that EID I'm taking it as. I just want to initialize the name and age. Instead of writing these two words here, that is these two assignment statements here, I can simply say that super dot init name comma age. The keyword super is used to call the constructor from the super class. That is, this constructor will be activated here. So name and age will be automatically assigned there. Then I can say that self dot employee id is equal to employee id. Okay. Then I don't want to write any other method in this for now. Let me save this. Remember how we create objects. So person object p1 is equal to person, and I want to pass the name and age. Let me pass the name. Name is Harish. Age, let us assume 19. Now I want to create employee class E1 for employee. I have to pass the employee name. Let us assume John. Age 36. And employee ID. Assume that employee ID is E109 1019. This is a string. Okay. E1 dot birthday. So there is a question here. When I say E1, E1 is an object of employee, and employee has no methods here. Only other than init, there is nothing existing here. Then what will happen when I call this E1 dot birthday? Let me run this. Save. I'm saving it as inheritance example. One practice inex.py. Okay, then let me run. There was an error. So I need to say that it is taking 0 positional arguments. Where is the budget defined? Here I have to give self. So this self is something which we should give as a first argument for almost all the instance methods. Wish you many happy returns of the day, John. So you can understand this. It is John, that is from the employee it is calling, and this method doesn't exist in the employee. That is what we mean as inheritance. This is inheriting all the properties. Class employee is inheriting the method which is present in the parent class, that is person. So I need not write these things. And we also see that by calling super.init, I was able to run the constructor of that is the initializer method from the person. This is how the inheritance is working. Okay, let us continue. Let us go to our PPT. Okay, I think you understood the terminology: base class, super class, parent class. These represent the class from which we are inheriting the attributes and behavior. Subclass and child class. This is the class which is inheriting the attributes and behavior. In the example, we can say that person is super class and employee is base class. And there exists a super class for all classes in Python, that is nothing but object. So object is a super class for all classes in Python. Okay. Method overriding. Let us look at another concept known as method overriding. So when we have this particular class, for example, overriding occurs when a method is defined in a class and also defined in its subclass. Let us assume that a particular method was defined in the parent class and subclass also. So then we say that that method is overridden. It was overridden in the child class. It was existing in the parent class, which means that it is also existing in the child class, but we are changing that method. Then we say that it is overridden in the child class. Okay, let us go to the example again. In our idle, so here if I define this birthday method again, define birthday self, I am passing self here. This here the self is employee object, here the self is person object. Okay, print wish, I'm just writing, I'm creating a statement differently. Self dot name our employee long live John is one of our best employee. I just changed the statement. I just want to explain how to override a method. So if a method is defined in the parent class and child class, then we are telling that that method is overridden. Let me see what happens if I call e1.birthday, and we can have another example also. Print. Here I'm telling birthday from person class. Then I'm telling p1 dot birthday. Then again here I'm telling that print birthday from employee class. Okay, let me run this method. Save, run module. Birthday from employee class, there is an error. Self not name. Let me see what is the error. Press back file e1.birthday. Long live self dot name, who is our best employee. Bad operand. Oh, I had a comma there. That's a syntax error. Okay. Then everything will be okay. Save. You can see the output here. Long live John, who is one of our best employee. That is the birthday method from employee. Wish you many happy returns of the day, Harish. This is the birthday method from person class. We can see this. So whenever we define a class in the parent class and child class also, then we say that that method is overridden. This is a simple thing we should understand. So overriding occurs when a method is defined in a class and also one of its subclasses. Okay, I have given an example here. So in the employee class, here I am taking more attributes. You can see self, that is common first attribute for every init method. Name, age, disig, salary, 4 attributes I am taking there. Okay. Then when I am passing this name and age, I'm calling super, that is a constructor from the person class. Okay, then. So here we overridden the str method. In the you can see on the slide that I am overriding the str method. In the example, I have overridden the birthday method. You can override any method. This is example for method overriding. So let us look at another concept called operator overloading. So what is operator overloading? What are different operators you know? If you just think of different operators you know, we basically remember the arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators, when I say plus, minus, multiplication, that is asterisk, division, there are many arithmetic operators. So when we think about overriding the operators, what I mean is that If I try to add two integers, it is possible to add two integers. 3 plus 5, it will directly add. For example, if I have created a particular class which is like quantity, okay, so it contains quantity and some other methods. If I want to override if I want to add two quantities, that is two objects of that class, it is not possible. It will show an error. So because the operator plus will accept integers or floating point numbers or sometimes strings for concatenating. So if you pass something else other than this, if I pass an object, for example, if I am passing a person object, if I want to add two persons, it is meaningless, and also that operator won't accept it. Let me go to the concept there. So operator overloading allows user-defined classes, especially the classes which we are defining, to have a natural way of using the operators. How good it is if you are able to use those operators directly on our class. I want to check. Let us assume that I have a student class, I have a quantity class, and I want to check which quantity is greater, which quantity is less. If I was able to use the less than, greater than operators, comparison operators on the user-defined class naturally, that was very good. Okay. So what is operator overloading? Operator overloading allows user-defined classes to appear to have a natural way of using operators such as any operator. We can see plus, minus, greater than, less than, etc. Okay, this leads to more readable code. You can see the example there. For example, I have a quantity class. So quantity may be a quantity of how much rice we have. Let us assume that, and the number there represents the kgs. So quantity 1, you can see I have created an object quantity 1, which has 5 kgs. Quantity 2 means 10 kgs. And I want to find out the sum of these two quantities. So quantity 3 is equal to quantity 1 plus quantity 2. I want to write it like that, but it will show an error because quantity is a particular user defined object, and this plus operator won't accept or won't work on those user defined types. And you can see this q1 is equal to quantity 5, q2 is equal to quantity 10. If I define a method add which will take and add these quantities, then I can call this q3 is equal to q1 dot add q2. So this will work. But we can see that the first method is more natural and more readable and succinct code. The second method is not that good. So is there a way that we can use these operators such that the code looks more natural and more good? The answer is yes, we have a particular way of doing it. So we can see that in the above two ways, we can observe which is more natural. I know that the method 1 is more natural by using the operator. So by using operator overloading, we can overload the operators such that they will work on user-defined types. User-defined types is nothing but our classes. So how to do this operator overloading? So to do those operator overloading, we were provided with some magical methods. We can see that for addition, we are provided with double underscore add double underscore. And for that, I need to pass self and some other method q2. If I want to add q2 to our current class q1, then we will use it like that. So that is, we can do all these things: addition, subtraction, multiplication, power. Just remember the magical method which we need to use. Once we remember those magical methods which we need to override, then we can override any operator. So we can see that we can override many operators there. Okay, I can also override the comparison operators: less than or equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to. Just look at the methods. For less than, we got lt, less than. So Python is more straightforward. Okay. For less than or equal to le, less than or equal to le. For equal to eq. So magical methods are very easy to remember. For not equal to ne, for greater than gt, greater than. For greater than or equal to ge, greater than or equal to. Okay. So here I have given an example there. We had a class quantity. So in that I have one attribute value. Initially I'm making it as 0. So it is also possible to initialize the variables to some default values in the constructor. You can see that define init self comma value is equal to 0. I am initializing it to 0. Then I am telling that self dot value is equal to value. Define add. I am overriding the plus operator. You can see that add self comma other. So I need to have the other quantity also there. New value is equal to self dot value plus other dot value. That return quantity. So I want to return the quantity there. After adding two quantities, the result should be a new quantity. So return quantity new underscore value. So define subtract sub. You can see the double underscore sub double underscore, that is subtract. So new value is equal to self dot value minus other dot value, return quantity again. Then again we have written this str method. I want to print, that is for str. Okay, this is basically about operator overloading. So I think it is straightforward. We can understand it. You can check it. You can create a quantity class and you can run it. So I'm not writing an example there. And another topic after operator overloading, we started with inheritance. We have seen method overloading, method overriding. Then we are looking at operator overloading. Now the topic is data hiding. So data hiding is possible in other programming languages like Java by using the access specifier keywords. That is, for example, in Java, we have private access specifier, which means that that variable won't be accessed outside the class. That is, the data is hidden outside the class. Okay. Whereas Python doesn't have particular way of keeping a variable private. Okay. It believes on the programmer's what we say that it believes on the programmers. It just tells that a particular variable should be private by conventional methods. Okay, let us see this. Methods or instance variables or attributes whose names with single underbar are considered as protected. For example, when I create an attribute, if the name of the attribute starts with a single underscore or single underbar, then that is a protected variable. A protected variable is a variable which is accessible inside the class and also inside the subclasses of that particular class. It won't be accessed outside of it. Okay. If a particular variable is a public variable, it can be accessed everywhere. Then we have another thing called private. If a particular variable is a private variable, that is accessed only inside that particular class. That is, the members of that class can only access that variable. Whereas the other child classes members cannot access that private variables. There are three types of variables here. I am telling that which defines the vision where the particular variable will be visible, where the particular variable can be accessed. One is public. Public variable can be accessed everywhere, inside the class, outside the class, everywhere. Then protected variable will be accessed inside the class and also inside the child class. That is protected. And the third one is private. Private variables can be accessed only inside that particular class. That is, the methods and the methods of that particular class can only access the methods and constructor of that particular class can only access those protected variables. Those cannot be accessed outside that class. Okay. So then how do you know that a particular variable is a private variable or a public or a protected variable? It depends on the naming convention. If the variable is starting with a single underscore, that variable is a protected variable. You can see that on the slide. And if a variable starts with a double underscore, that is double underbar, then that variable is a protected, that is private variable. This is the naming convention that was given by the Python, which every Python programmer will follow. And a Python programmer understands that this variable is meant to be private and they won't try to access it outside that particular class. Okay, you can see the example there. I am creating class my class. Okay, hidden variable there, it starts with double underscore, which means it is a private variable. Then we can look at the next line, single underscore protected variable. It is a protected variable as the name says. Okay, so we got private variable, protected variable. Try to remember that protected variable is accessible in a class and its child classes. Private variable is accessible only in the class. Okay. So we are telling that define add self increment, self dot hidden variable plus is equal to increment. We are trying to increment it. It can be accessible inside the particular class methods. Then print self dot hidden variable. My object is equal to my class. We created an object. My object dot add. I am calling the add method. So there I got increment, which increments the hidden variable. My object dot add 3. Okay, I'm calling that. You can see that print my object class name dot, print my class dot hidden variable. It shows an error because that is a private variable. We cannot print it outside the class. We cannot access it outside the class. Print my class dot underscore protected var, that is also going to show an error. That's the reason I have put them in the comments. Okay, here we'll stop our class. Thank you.